Hey, afternoon, everybody. We're on to episode 5 of season 2. So, by my recollection, that's about 17 guests, I think, 12 in season 1 and 5 now in season 2. So, I don't want to take up too much of anybody's time listening to me, and I want to get straight into another top guest that I have on the show today. So, this guy is, I don't even know the last fella who I interviewed. That was actually from Ireland, so I suppose it's good to have a fellow countryman on the show today. But I'm just going to get straight into the introduction, so you can just tell everybody who you are, what you're currently doing, and I always say why, why are you doing what you're doing? So work away, mate. The floor is yours.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks very much for having me on. I think it's a great idea to do something like this. My name is David Carr. I'm the owner of DC and Fitness. I'm basically a strength and conditioning coach. I'm from Galway, currently working with a number of teams across all age groups, from as young as under 10 all the way up to adult. Predominantly working in the soccer space, but recently moved into the GA space. So with soccer with Salt 11, which is my hometown club, and recently started working with in Mayo, which is my adopted hometown club. So all going well. I've taken on two new roles with my local club again, Park, and a team in Galway called Carr. And then on a personal basis, I'm working very closely with a number of League of Ireland academy players. Recently started working with one or two senior League of Ireland players, which is something I wouldn't have expected 6, 7 months ago. And on top of that, then started working with the 200 and 400 meter sprinter, which is something I never thought I'd be doing, but really enjoying that. Why do I do it? I suppose anyone that's involved in strength and conditioning, coaching clubs, all that sort of stuff, just has to be passionate for it. I don't think you can do that sort of role if it's just really, really interested and driven by it, you know?
No, excellent. And just, I want to just touch base on what you were saying there about you started this a couple of months ago, if I'm correct. And look, I can say the same thing. And I only spoke to a friend of mine yesterday who started his coaching business a couple of years ago, but he's now gone on to coach professional players. And what sort of feeling do you get knowing that you literally, I mean, I'm not sure if it's a couple of months or if you've been doing this on and off, but like, is there like a sense of pride that like you start something, you don't really think it's going to get places, and then as you're saying, within a number of months, you're basically coaching like you have high level athletes who are putting their trust in you. Because I imagine athletes can be very, very, very picky with who they want to coach them.
Yeah. So just a bit of background. So I done the strength and conditioning course through a college called Satanta College, internationally recognized institution, really great people working there. So I just decided off a whim that I was going to do that course around 2, 3 years ago. Just wanted to have it in the background. Never really done anything with it. Don't really know why. Just didn't. It's a full-time job as is. Um, so then I got kind of just said, right, I'm gonna give it a good go here. Basically, I set up a kind of an online business, just helping people lose weight, things like that. So that I was kind of someone who was kind of quite fit growing up, played a lot of sport, gained a lot of weight when I was kind of 22, lost all the weight again. So that was kind of something that I was interested in, helping other people. That started off helping, at one point I was helping my mother, a couple of friends. Then I started coaching online with one or two of my own friends. Quickly realized it wasn't something that I loved, thought I did. So I was contacted recently then by Salt 11, which is a club I've managed and played for growing up for a number of years. They had a gap club. They had a strength and conditioning coach who had immigrated to Australia. So that just really opened the door and it's taken off from there. So I suppose really grateful to Salt 11 for kind of giving me that platform to grow, and kind of quickly realized it was kind of something maybe I was good at, something that I maybe would like to do, full time in the future. So yeah, kind of just wish I'd done it a long time ago, if that makes sense. But delighted to go a bit later in life. So yeah, really exciting. Never thought I'd be working with the League of Ireland players so quickly, all that sort of stuff. Um, Learning every day off other coaches, which is the main thing. I'm by far from the finished article, but I've come along I feel like I've come along huge amounts in the last 8, 9 months, through other coaches, podcasts, everything, just working with teams, different ages, genders, obviously female, men. But yeah, really enjoying it. So yeah, it seems to be getting bigger and bigger, getting interest from multiple clubs, people contacting me I've never heard of that I don't know. Brilliant. Really, really happy with how so far.
And just before we move on, how do you sort of do you find that by speaking to so like whether it's Salt Hill Devon, whether it's Manila, like the players there, whether it's inter-county players, do you feel that sometimes that actually by speaking to people, so like say you're out on the pitch, you're out doing a session, that is where you learn most rather than I know everybody learns differently, but I'm just curious to know if you like would you say you learn more on the job or you obviously you built up all the knowledge while you were in Satanta.
I think you definitely learn more job like anything. I suppose maybe like speaking a language. If you're learning French in school, if you go and live in France for 3 or 4 months, you're going to learn more in 4 months than you do in 5 years.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely think on the job is absolutely key. I do have an online business. It's not something that I would say particularly drives me. I'm someone who wants to be in the gym, on the pitch, learning off coaches, learning off players, parents, everyone really. Everyone is the reality, Um, you're going to make mistakes. Definitely made a few, but as long as you learn from them, I think you're going to improve. But yeah, that's how I feel.
Oh, brilliant. And then just obviously give everybody else a bit of a background um, about how we sort of started speaking and how how we came across each other's work.
Yeah, absolutely. So I suppose we don't really know each other that long. I'd say no more than a week.
Yeah.
So you reach out to me on Instagram, left me a message, just wish me well, said you enjoyed my stuff. Really appreciate that. I think a lot of us are in the same space. We're all driven by the same thing. I think there's plenty of clubs, players out there for everyone. So I think it's a great idea to kind of platform each other, get our own name out there, build our own brand, build our own business. Might be in the same space to an extent, but I'm not viewing you as a competitor. You're not viewing me. So I just think help each other. We have small businesses, for now. Hopefully they'll get bigger. Who knows for either of us? But yeah, so that's how we met. And I kind of mentioned to you off the cuff that I was kind of doing something like this. You were already doing it, so brilliant. So here we are a week later, and that might give me the push now to do it. I've a couple of lads there at Salt Hill Devon who have really good League of Ireland careers behind them. Come on, speak to them. I'm sure there's loads of kids at the club really interested in listening to what they have to say. So something I have on the urgent list now the next week or two to do something similar to this.
Excellent. No, it's brilliant. I have to say, I think the one thing that I have definitely learned from doing this is, as I said at the start, so you're the 17th person that I've interviewed doing this, but everybody's story is so unique and it's also inspiring in its own way too. And I actually genuinely feel the point I'm trying to get to is that the more people that you actually talk to, as you were saying, you were maybe focused more on the S&C stuff. My stuff is more focused on coaching players. But the more people you talk to, you can actually bounce ideas from, and whether it's a chat, whether it's a podcast, whether it's just sending each other ideas, I think it can really help. And I mean, would that be something that you would agree with?
Did you say that to me again? Sorry.
No, I was just saying, would it
Just the
be
final
something that you'd
part.
agree with that sort of talking to people, even though that we might be in sort of different it's still the sort of the same sort of sport industry, but I mean, I focus more on maybe football coaching. Yours obviously focus more on S&C. But I was just saying, do you think sort of speaking to people can really, really help develop you as a coach, as a person, and to obviously get the best out of the athletes to come and see you?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the only way really is, there's no way I'm going to improve without being on the pitch every day, speaking to coaches. I find parents are hugely interested in my side of things at the moment, really well included, really looking for the kids to push on from a really, really young age. So like you're dealing with, players, coaches, you're dealing with club coaches from top to bottom. It's all about just reaching out to everyone, really, I think. Anyway, I've gotten huge opportunities just by reaching out to clubs on How I got the role with Manola was I just reached out to the secretary. So yeah, that's I would really recommend that people just kind of take the plunge and really learn from everyone.
Excellent. And then just sort of speak to me about your sort of goals. Now, I mean, like everyone's sort of goals and everyone's success is obviously built around different scenarios, but like I ask people in like in multiple multiple ways. Like, is there health goals? Is there family goals? Is there business goals? Obviously, you're working with with clubs at the minute in football. Is there one or two that maybe really stand out with what you want to achieve, as in whether it's 2026 or whether it's by 2036? What sort of comes to mind when you think of maybe these big goals that you'd love to just tick off and say, I did it, I got there?
Yeah, look, excellent question. If you asked me that question 6 months ago, I'd have said to you, our goal would be to kind of maybe get to the League of Ireland level at a minimum anyway, do you know? I'm a per manifestation, so obviously I'd visualize that in my head. That's what I want to do. And I put a timeline on that, maybe probably 2, 3 years, something like that. But I suppose now with the introduction of the third tier, my own club seven is in the League of Ireland. So hopefully that'll open some doors, quite quickly for myself. So look, it is third tier, but that is League of Ireland. And if there was something I could do there with the club, I'd be absolutely thrilled. If I could take that long-term goal off in the short term, brilliant. I'd be 2 or 3 years ahead of the something that I really want to do. Um, Historically, I've coached teams in football. I've managed a few teams. So, while I am a strength and conditioning coach, I really enjoy managing people. I enjoy coaching. So I find it hard to see any world where I'm not dipping back into that as well. So short term, definitely want to do my UEFA C. I've got a young 16 or 17-month-year-old boy at home. So look, he's going to football hopefully the next 2 or 3 years. So I don't foresee any way that I'm not coaching him and his underage teams. So
Yeah,
it's kind of hard to know. In one sense, I'm here. I want to be the League of Ireland strength and conditioning coach, but I also want to manage. I think at the underage level and maybe high level junior, you could do both. But
yeah.
maybe if I want to, as far as I can, I might have to pick one. But at the moment, I don't think I need to decide on that. So that's all. Then in terms of my own online page, I'd like to grow it to an extent. I don't think I want to take over the world or anything like that, but I do want to get a bit more info out there, put myself out there, that kind of stuff. Maybe get a bit more business, get a bit more well known within the circle, clubs around the area, that sort of stuff. Like I'm absolutely useless with all that sort of stuff. So my wife does a lot of that for me. So yeah, to upskill there. So they're the main things really. But yeah, big one is to get the coaching badge started this. So yeah, hopefully do the UFC license at some point this year.
Oh, excellent. No, brilliant. It sounds like you have a really like a growth mindset as people call it, which is really, really fantastic. And with that, obviously, when you want to grow, there's always challenges along the way. If you can think of them, what sort of challenges past and obviously challenges looking into the future do you think that you're gonna face, whether it's in the next 6 months or the next 6 years? And then obviously challenges in the past, maybe it could be challenges that you had setting up your business, but the floor is yours to answer that one.
Yeah, so I suppose for me the main challenge I suppose is trying to balance my own personal life and growing the business. I have a full-time job, which is busy. I enjoy it, so that keeps me kind of going Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. Then you're trying to grow your own little side business on the side while having a family at home. It's not easy. Um, so like I'm all over the place really. I'm in Salt Hill twice a week, then I'm back up to Mayo twice a week, and then I'm doing a strength and conditioning set. Could be Saturday and Sunday because I am on the go 5 or 6 days a week at the moment. Now look, that'll clear up. It's kind of key testing period at the moment for a lot of teams. Seasons are starting here in Mayo for soccer and game. But yeah, I suppose time is the main issue for me. If I was a bit younger, maybe in my 20s, didn't have the kind of same commitments at home. It's something I think I could probably go full time at right now. It just can't be in, two places at the same time kind of thing for me at the moment. But I really do think if I was a bit younger, I could really go full time. Any club that I've kind of dealt with, they seem to buy into it. I feel I have a kind of a decent ability to get through to people. So I think if I had, 5, 7 days a week to really grow it and be 6, 7, 8, 9 clubs a week, I think there is a full-time career for any young coach who really has the right mind. What I would just say is just get in contact with the club,
Yeah.
contact 5, 6 clubs. It doesn't matter. One of them will say yes, one of them break. And it's the same in Mayo. Contacted 4 or 5, one of them give me a break, and that was Manila. And they've been just so great to deal with. They even put in, they bought, excuse me, so they invested €1,500 in like gym equipment for me to test their players. They didn't have to do that, and
Wow.
they've kind of just taken everything on board that I've said. They've gone for it, they've ran with it, and they've been absolutely brilliant. So any coach, the message is just contact as many clubs as you can. Someone will say yes. It's a numbers game, and once you're in the door, it's up to you then to make it grow. That kind of way.
Yeah. No, exactly. Look, I even want to say for me, right? I messaged you whenever it was a week or two ago on Instagram, but I was only saying to someone the other day, I sent off 30 LinkedIn messages yesterday, just connecting with
Mm,
with people and just trying to find out just a bit about them because obviously I have genuine interest in speaking to people.
mm,
And
yeah,
at the time yesterday, I'd got 5 responses. So as you said, someone's going to say yes. Whether it's the first person you message or the last person you message or first club or last club, someone will definitely say yes. So I can fully agree with that. That the more that you send out, definitely the better chance you have. But if say you send off 2 messages this week, you could get uh, no responses, and that's why I think people just need to keep on. Similar to what you said about a numbers game, they just need to keep on going. Um, but yeah, so Dale, actually just the second part of that. Do you do you see maybe any challenges with your Instagram page with your business? What what potential challenges do you think you could come across in the next year, maybe, or do you see any?
just the Instagram page. Is that what you said? Sorry, I didn't quite
Yeah,
catch
yeah.
that.
So just yeah, what sort of challenges do you think do whatever with trying? Just say I don't know. I think it was what you have over 1,000 followers, or maybe it's 2,000 followers. I can't remember. But what sort of challenges do you think you might get, or do you think maybe what you were saying about being on the camera a bit more might be a challenge you sort of want to go off and
Yeah,
do
I
more
think,
of?
look, I'll definitely take the plunge of getting on the camera. That's not something I think kind of phases me too much. It's down to it.
Yeah,
I think the main challenge in terms of my social media is just I tend to freeze when I look at something I don't really understand. So, like for something like editing a video, you need to use like an app like CapCut or to just Canva. I
yeah,
look at it like, right, today's the day. I'm going to just sit down. I'm going to get used to it, and then I throw on a tutorial, and I'm within a minute. I just can't do
yeah,
it. So I don't know what to do. So as I said to you before, I rely on other people helping me. Potentially might have to outsource that to be honest at this point if I want to make the page just look a little bit better. Again, it's a time issue with the online thing. I don't want to get too bogged down on it at the same time. I'm on the pitch enough, so hopefully it'll just take care of itself. And there 7, 8 months, maybe even less, had no real plans to set one up. Just kind of said, right, might as well just set one up. So that'll be my main challenge, just kind of getting comfortable out of my comfort zone on camera, getting better, design more content out there on a regular basis. So that's where I'm with that, to be honest. But as I said, it's not really the Instagram page at the moment. I'm kind of just want to grow myself in and around the local area, Mayo, and maybe into. I live quite close to the border of Sligo, so I've actually done a bit of work with the team called Real Tubber in Sligo, Common and Leitrim. So I'm in a good place where I can kind of expand into different counties. So that's the goal, really. But I think the Instagram page, it's not bad. Like I'm doing well considering, it's not something I'm used to or I've never kind of thought I even have a page, to be honest. So I'm happy with it.
excellent. Right, so now, as I say with the whole advice, right? Imagine you're going back into your primary school or even your secondary school, because actually, no, we'll say secondary school because I think when you're probably a bit too young to start saying what you want to go off and do, right? So you go back in to your secondary school and you're doing a chat basically with your class, probably like fourth year, fifth year, like when people start thinking about what they want to go off and do. And there's a young David down the back of the class, and he asks you a question about, right, give me some advice because I like what you're doing. How do I get there? What would you say to him?
Yeah, it's a good question, and it's kind of spoken with my wife a number of times. Just wish I had a bit more when I was kind of 18 or 19. Do you know, when I was I wasn't particularly great in school, to be honest. Idea what I wanted to do, so kind of didn't really do much, to be honest, for the first 4 or 5 years out of school. Kind of wish looking back though, that I'd made like there's a couple of things I think I could have done and should have done. One was joining the guards. That was kind of on my list a couple of years ago. So I was going to rejoin. I was going to apply to join. Well, I did apply to join the guards 3 or 4 years ago. And for whatever happened with COVID-19, there was backlogs, all that sort of stuff. Actually, by the time I was able to apply again, I'd passed the age limit, so I couldn't do that. I was single. So then, obviously, they extended the age limit with the guards, so I could have reapplied, but obviously my circumstances had changed. I'm married, I have a kid, so I couldn't really be away 5 days a week. So yeah, I think that I maybe would have done when I was younger. Regret not doing it maybe, but at this point, I'm just kind of I've parked that side of things. Then with what I'm doing now, again, if I just had the cop on to do it when I was 90, I think I could have a really successful business, Genuinely, not to be blowing my own trumpet or anything like that. I do feel I do. I enjoy it. And yeah, that's probably one thing that I would say to my younger self on, and maybe have done this a bit sooner, But I'm only 39 at the end of the day, so for the next 20, 30 years, hopefully, So
Still, you're definitely still young. Do you know, I want to actually just touch on something that you said there at the very end, right? And I've been on a couple of calls with friends and family this week, and I think there's a bit of a wrong perception, and you obviously rightly so have said that like you're good at what you do, and I think more people should be telling themselves that I'm really good at what I do. Just because, like I'll say this, in the area that I coach in Dublin, there is a load of very high level coaches that I know and I speak to all the time. But just because there's high level coaches doesn't mean you're not good at what you do. And I mean, I just wanted to sort of ask you, would you have always growing up, would you have always been like, whether you're playing soccer or whether you're whatever playing other sports, would you have always said, I'm good at what I do, or I'm not good at what I do, or I just wanted to be ask you basically, is this something that sort of come maybe as you got a bit older?
yeah, I think it's honestly the first time I've ever said that out loud. Honest, it was the last 4 or 5 months. It was just a realization that came to me. Maybe this is what I should be doing with that kind of way.
Yeah.
It's not that I don't enjoy what I do now in my full time job, and I do believe, but I do believe I'm really, really good at what I do. And I think that just comes from father was a coach growing up, so maybe there's a bit of that from him. Um, just kind of it's in the family, all that stuff. It just seems to have clicked for me, that kind of way. And you can just kind of tell that you are getting through to parents, I am to players, I just feel it. So, and the business is growing, I get more opportunity all the time. So, I must be good at what I do if that's the case. So yeah, I think it is safe to tell it to yourself, and it's definitely something I don't think I've ever said out loud or even thought in my life, to be honest. So yeah, so I'm happy with that, So I've no problems saying that either here,
No, it's great to hear because I think there's that little element of self-belief and
Hmm.
also, right, well, I am good at what I do because if you're trying to create something, like you're obviously saying, like Mayo, Galway, Roscommon, Leitrim, and Sligo, like if you're trying to create something in all of those counties, you probably wouldn't have created those chances if you didn't have the self-belief to go into or whatever. I know you brought up Manila, but to go into Manila and say, look, this is what I do. I know what I do works, and this is going to help. And I think for anybody listening, it's massive to just start something, believe in yourself, learn whatever you need to go off and learn, and then just put it into practice. Right, to finally touch off, to finally sort of end this podcast, a friend of mine came up with this last question, and I think it's really good. Now, it can also be a bit hard too because it's such a like if you look at the grand scheme of things, a week is such a short space of time in a 52-week year. So, Jack Sweeney Leahy, what a brilliant question. But the question is, David, what will you work on this week to improve your career goals? So I know today is Tuesday, but say between Tuesday today and Tuesday next week, if you can maybe put your finger on, what do you think you can do that will maybe grow your Instagram page or get more clubs sending you messages or anything else like that?
So I am extremely poor at kind of, adhering to kind of lists I need to do this week, all that sort of stuff. Quite capable of putting things on the long finger. So this week I'm going to do my safeguarding. You can't move on to the C license without your safeguarding. So I've obviously done my guard vetting. So that's a 3 hour online course that I need to find time to do. I've been putting it off. This needs to be done. So and just get that C license rolling very quickly, I've got aspirations pretty quickly within the Super League here in Mayo. So, I think it's important that I start doing my coaching badges. Managed teams in the past, gotten great feedback off players, but I just think I need to get that C license coaching aspect of things. Really happy where I am in terms of strength and conditioning, really confident in my ability to manage players, all that sort of stuff. Happy that I can run sessions to a high level, but just not happy that I'm good enough to be a coach just yet. So want to start getting, educated properly through the FBI and whatnot, to bring myself to another level. So that's the aim, is to really get that going this week. Just by the end of the year, I want to be very, very close to having my C license, if not very early next year. So I know it takes a year, but yeah, so that's what I'm going to do in the next week. And then in terms of the Instagram, make a move there. I'm going to get myself on camera in the next week. Just going to introduce myself, explain who I am. The account at the moment it's a bit faceless to an extent. I'm happy I'm getting the info out there, showing lads what players are doing, what I do. Just want people to know who I am as well. I'd say out of whatever I have, it's 1,800 or whatever. I doubt any of them know much about me other than strength and condition coach from till. So that's the plan for the next week. So hopefully I stick to it. I'll definitely stick to the safeguarding. Bit of a ease in the old brain about the Instagram, but yeah, we'll push it anyway.
Finally, because I have really, really enjoyed this, and if anybody wants to reach out or if anybody wants to go off and find you, please let them know what pages you have, where to find you. So where can they go off and look? Where- Okay, no. So I was just saying, where can anybody find you? Who's if they want to go off and find you, what's your Instagram page
Oh,
or
sorry, apologies. You just broke up there small, but at the end. Yeah, so I have an Instagram page, DC Coaching and Fitness. Have a TikTok that I don't use. Not going to give you the handle for that just yet. Yeah, so Instagram is the best place for now. To contact me, just send me a DM, anything like that. So I'm definitely going to start reaching out to more coaches straight after this call idea. Really pleased that you brought me on to talk to you. Something I've never done before. It's good to get outside my comfort zone. So I think it's a great idea. So I really enjoyed it.
well, no, thank you for the whole episode. Thank you, obviously, for your time, first and foremost, coming on, giving me great advice, giving the listeners great advice too. And look, I'm just wishing you all the best. Of course, we'll stay in touch, and yeah, wishing you all the best for 2026 and for the whole season. And obviously, best of luck as well with your family and the new baby too.
Brilliant. Thanks so much. Appreciate it.
No, but take care.
Brilliant. Bye now.